So welcome to the Aspire podcast, and today I'm going to be having a deep dive conversation with not just one of our top coaches, but probably one of the top coaches in Bangkok. So I'm here with Coach Ice. Coach Ice, thanks for joining us today.
Swadika. Thanks for having me today.
Of course, man. It's always great to catch up and talk about where the industry is and, you know, what's the difference that makes the difference with a client experience and client result. So before we get into that, why don't we just start off with a little bit more about you, your background, your education. You know, what inspired you to get into the industry in the first place?
It started from common reason with every man. I just want to get bigger upper body to impress girls. Try to get more bigger biceps and chest. So it start from like trial and error. Try to hit the gym by myself, and it's the cycle like that for like 3 to 4 years since I'm on the first year of college with no result.
Okay, no result. But you were playing football as well at a fairly high level as well?
Just a major, just like youth level. Yeah. So I started to do and try to research more on the gym stuff seriously once I decided to quit the football because I think I couldn't go more with that. So I start to like research more and studying more.
Got it. And so at university you were studying sports science.
Yep.
And you were still playing football?
In this day?
Yeah, at the beginning.
I think last time that I touched the football will be like almost 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Has been now. Well, you know, you're a full-time professional now, but I think back then. So why do you think you weren't seeing results, right? You said you were training for 3 or 4 years, but nothing was really changing. Like looking back, why do you think that was?
I think I don't have the actual program. I just random. I just try to like follow the YouTube or Google program. Just like maybe I do chest today. Maybe 2 exercise, like just 10 reps.
Right.
That's it, and didn't go to failure. Just like 10. Yeah. I'm done.
So just going through the process of randomness, turning up, doing some lifting, doing the big lifts, but not actually leading to any adaptation. Yeah. So then you started going through 2nd, 3rd year of university, and then you started working in the industry. So now that you've been with Aspire for a couple of years now, how do you see the industry now compared to what you thought it was a few years ago?
Let's start from the first time I get into the industry. I just go for internship for at one of the commercial gym, and I expect that I'm going to like get more knowledge from trainers there. But I didn't get anything because once I start to ask them questions like, why do we need to do this exercise? Why do we let clients eat or do some type of nutrition? And they couldn't give me the clear explanation. So I started being curious that are they going to help me getting better? So I start to find the place and start to find someone that really helped me to get better with coaching and be a better coach.
Right. Yeah, I think that's a big difference. The difference between training and coaching, 2 different things.
Yeah.
Right. And you've got a big industry that has had incredible, like exponential growth over the last 5-10 years.
Yeah.
Yet we still see clients struggle to get results. They invest in having trainers, they get supplements, they follow nutrition plans. They might get some results, but there's still something missing. All right, so now, what do you think is that 5%, right? What's the difference that makes the difference between a client being able to experience outstanding results and average or no result. Because, right, we see clients every day and they're in their 40s and 50s and they've worked with trainers all over the world, but they haven't achieved the kind of results that they've had with us. So what is it that we're doing different? And what is it that clients need to be doing differently to achieve those kind of exponential results?
I think some clients that they've been trying by themselves, I think some of them, they're just doing too much with one thing. Like they just go extremely doing like strict diet, but they didn't train well or sleep well. So I think we need to make it as a lifestyle. So that means we need to integrate training, efficient training. It should be hard enough and proper nutrition. So that doesn't mean that it needs to be strict. So as a coach, we need to find what works best for them. So everyone is different, right? So I try to figure out by asking the questions, what their background, what are the things that they struggling, and also sleep also.
Yeah, big time. So I think these are common experiences for many people, not just our clients, but it also comes down to the immense amount of information that is available. Right, so people, whether it's YouTube or articles or other coaches or influencers, whoever they're following online, and I find that all of the information can be relevant. It can all work, but they need to focus on the right elements in context of their own situation, right? So it's not about, all right, what are the common ones with nutrition? Okay, you need to reduce carbs, you got to increase protein, increase your vegetables, you can't eat junk food, you can't eat sugar. And so it becomes very restrictive instead of inclusive, right? Whereas our clients, there is nothing that we tell them they cannot eat, right? Everything is okay, as long as it is in context to their start point, their goals, right? What's important, what's necessary. And I always use this example of a client that I had, and her objective was to find what she could get away with, right? How many carbs, how much junk, how much sugar, how much chocolate can I get away with and still get results?
That's
right? So it was always a part. Every single day she would have chocolate or a cinnamon bun. And she continued to eat like that, but still get incredible results because we looked at the frequency, the quantity, we looked at the timing based on her training, and then we looked at the intensity of her training. And I think that was the difference. So it was evident that she could still eat chocolate every day and still get incredible results, even though she had tried for many years on her own and with other trainers. So from the clients that you have been working with, what has been a couple of the most powerful tweaks that have led to either greater compliance or a better metabolic result?
So like I said, every clients are different, right? So if we talk about nutrition part, so I need to find what are the things that they are struggling. So some of them will be like snacking. So I'll give the example of my client. So he ate a lot of snacks. So I just asked him that, did you buy by yourself, or maybe your girlfriend or your parents put it in the fridge?
Staff.
Yeah,
Staff buying junk.
Yeah, so he told me that he buy by himself. So I asked him again, where did you buy it? So he told me after work there's a supermarket nearby his workplace. So I told him that maybe once you finish work, you can go straight home. Because if you see in the supermarket or if you be close to the place that you're able to access the snacks, you probably get it.
For sure.
So
yeah.
I just told him, maybe you can try just go back home straight. And and that doesn't trigger him, and he just have less snacking.
Yeah,
so
of
I'm
course.
Really happy with that.
Ah,
yeah.
And it just shows, right? It's about people's habits. And it's their triggers. So I've had clients too where it was 7-Eleven. And what we did first was we walked on the other side of the road, so we didn't have to walk past it. It was a simple change, right? And it's those same things. It just becomes convenient and easy and habitual. So they just do it without even thinking. You know, and I think that's a big part of like our nutrition approach is we don't count calories. We don't follow any nutrition plan. And we start with increasing people's awareness around their decisions, around their food choices, right? And it becomes such a powerful driver because it's like giving them the tools to be in control themselves, right? They're not following a plan or a diet or counting calories. They're dialing into their mind and their behaviors and their actions.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that happens, I mean, all the time, right? We have our clients, they just have massive breakthroughs in just the first week. They have these big aha moments of, wow, I never knew that was just a pattern of behavior that I couldn't do anything about, and now I can. I think the first thing is when people just eat out of habit, not because they're actually hungry.
They just, some of them, they just like, don't know what to do. Like they just have a break between work and just like, oh, maybe I have one. Maybe got one more from my friends. Yeah. And they didn't feel like they didn't have any hunger. So they just eat.
Yeah, exactly. And I think when it comes to the training side of things, again, there's just a lot of randomness and people are turning up and they might even be working to fatigue. They might exercise 4 or 5 days a week, doing resistance training, but there are still elements that are not leading to that metabolic adaptation. Tell us a little bit about your approach of programming and how you create that metabolic change in a client, right? How do you get that progressive overload that leads to a recomposition?
So for the training, we want to train and get our body to adapt, right? So we need to put some amount of stress that is high enough, but we're not going to like kill ourselves, like high enough to get our body to, okay, I need to change. So the weight, not maybe just weight, but maybe reps or sets or the volume. And during the sets, it needs to work almost or close to failure every single set. So that get us to adapt. So it's like when we got triggered by a fire, if it's not hot, we're going to stand there. But if it's really hot, we're going to like, ouch, and run away.
You get that response.
Yeah, same as training. Yeah.
I over the years, my programming and methodologies have evolved tremendously, and that's usually through the learnings of isometrics and force production. And I love to share with clients when they think that they need to lift more, and I'll take them down to a lower weight and show them how to work these other variables to reach fatigue and challenge the entire system, right? It's not about the muscle even, it's about the nervous system and reaching neural fatigue. And we can achieve that through different elements, right? It's pre-fatigue, it's through the lactate system, it's range of movement, it's tempo, speed, eccentric control, neural activation, time under tension. I mean, these are all the advanced principles that we use with our clients to help them get that experience without just lifting more weight. Yeah. So what has been like one of the breakthrough systems or strategies that you use in relation to the strength training side of things?
So you mean how I program to my clients?
Yeah, like how do you help them, even from a motivation perspective, to push to almost full fatigue every time?
Oh, okay. So when we program, we will have the numbers for clients, right? But sometimes, or most of the time, we're not going to follow the numbers because even, let's say, Dan, back squat 50 kg for 10. once you hit 10, and if you like look like it was 10 is you didn't like express the facial stress, so I may ask you that, okay, do you have like 1 or 2 more rep left? If yes, let's go, let's push to get more fatigue and get your body to adapt.
Yeah, 100%. I've been using that approach for clients for many years. It's not just telling people what to do, right? That's the training side. But the coaching, we're actually giving the frameworks and the tools on how to approach their training that gets them to the next level of understanding, right? It's all about awareness. So I usually coach my clients to say, right, it's not about the target. It's not about reaching 10. All right, we're assessing and making that projection, right, based on previous sessions, based on how they feel on any given day. And then they are already coached to know that when they get to 10, it's not over. It's just a point of interception to reassess how they feel. And my coaching cue is, what's left in the tank?
Okay.
What have you got left? So I'm already implying that there's more in there. I'm not saying, are you finished? Are you tired? Are you done? I say, what's left in the tank? What have you got left?
Okay.
Right? And so they're conditioned and trained now to just achieve that initial target, whatever the rep was, reassess, and then continue based on their own awareness and perception of what they have in the tank. That way, we're always reaching thresholds.
Oh yeah, always.
We're always reaching potential. Because that approach of just hitting a 10 or whatever the target is and stopping means they're leaving a lot on the table, right?
Yeah.
They're not able to reach those levels of neural fatigue, which are going to move them forward. And do you find the same thing from a motivation perspective for men and women?
Men and women. I think sometimes for women we need to be like more gentle and ask more polite that, okay, you want to give 2 more reps for yourself?
Classic.
Yeah. So, and for these questions that we ask clients, once they hit the numbers that we set, and once they start to push through it like session by session, it also teach and give them the mindset to work harder and try to push further forward. And once they've been doing this for months or years, they will be really tough.
Yeah, that's it. No, I love it. And you've got some really high performing female clients.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But they didn't start that way. They were just your typical client that, wanted a trainer, wanted to get some results, hadn't got results with other trainers or whatever they were doing before. And I think it all comes back to this.
Yeah.
It's like we talk about randomness all the time, because the body needs a consistent stimulus to respond to so that it can continue to get better and improve, right? That's how we optimize and achieve levels of mastery, right? It comes down to that randomness. But I can definitely understand, right? We hear clients say that, oh, I do classes because I get bored easily. And I can certainly get to that, but the randomness of that belief is leading them to a lack of results, frustration, and probably stopping their journey. And I think that's the magic of our Aspire methodology and programming, that those big lifts is where we get the consistency, but we've got enough variety and variables in the other parts of our programming, right? Our exercise prescription, that give them the variety so it never feels repetitive.
Yeah.
Right? And I think you've probably experienced that from how you used to program before, like before Aspire. Yeah, and now at Aspire. So how has your programming changed from before to now?
Okay. So as a newbie fitness coach, before I was like, I tried to, like I say, entertain clients by switching and change the exercise every single session, which is a reason of just don't want to make them bored. But I didn't have a clear purpose that why do I do this variation? Why do we do this weight, this rep and sets? It's just entertaining, so I just want to hit myself on that time.
Yeah, well, it's just checking boxes, right? But that's what we learn, whether it's in university or any kind of courses. It's checking boxes, right? And we're missing those valuable insights of what is the difference that makes the difference. Yeah. I think another big part on the motivation of clients and giving them the skills and knowledge and awareness of what they're doing, especially related to the boredom, right? It's because they're taking a movement as a movement or an exercise as an exercise and not understanding that their focus has got to be on how can they optimize their performance, right? Form and technique and activation, tempo, control.
Yeah.
And that's where the dopamine comes in. So if they change their focus onto themselves and how they can optimize all these key elements of their movement mechanics, well, a squat is no longer a squat. Right? A press is not a press. It's not what you do, but it's how you do things. Right? And I find that has been such a tremendous breakthrough in the motivation of clients, as well as their level of focus in training, because now they are focused on themselves and how to activate and listen to coaching cues and maintain good positions and make those little micro adjustments during each set, right? So they're not even focused on the reps anymore. It's optimizing their movement, staying safe, and reaching neural fatigue through their own focus and engagement, rather than just listening to instructions. And that overcomes the element of boredom as well. So it's no longer an issue. I think another big area that has been quite influential for many years was also this focus on strength, power, and capacity. All right, so regardless if we're working with a 7-year-old young golfer, right? We've got those, or an 88-year-old man that we've had too, and everything in between. The secret to not just the results, because it elicits that hormonal response, but also longevity, right? That's the key anchor to performance, health, functional capacity, and longevity is strength and power and force production. And so I think a really positive influence into the industry has definitely been the popularity of CrossFit. Right now, obviously we'll say CrossFit is a big part of your own programming and your training. And obviously we were the first CrossFit affiliate in Bangkok back in the day. So where do you think CrossFit has its role in exercise prescription, programming, and client results, right? Where does it have its positive impact? And what are the least positive impacts or influence of CrossFit methodologies into a more general population? So let's start with your own training, right? And how has it impacted how you program with clients now?
So it's quite similar, like how I train is like I can help with clients also, because methodology of clients or how they approach the programming, we look at everything that help us to get better at health. So which is muscles, bones, so we get it from strength, right? And also capacity, which is cardiovascular system, and also flexibility and mobility. So CrossFit will cover these things, so that's the good things for them. But and the downside of that is CrossFit gym, they're going to mostly they're going to do group class, right? So group class, if clients just join for group class and they just didn't set the structure for them, just random, so that doesn't mean that they're going to get a good result, because each client will have different physical issue. Some of them will be mobility, some of them they couldn't reach their arms up straight, but they try to do strict press, so they press up like this and their body will be, they're going to compensate by arching their lower back and they're going to hurt their back. So it needs to be in structure. So they need someone to identify the problem and do the test and programming based on the result of the test. To fix the problem.
For sure.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of great CrossFit boxes, gyms, and coaches around. It's just hard to really customize for the individual.
Yeah.
Right? You go through an on-ramp program, there's always a strength and a mobility component. Like the structure of a CrossFit session is fantastic, right? You try and hit all the elements that people need and you try and give them some personalization along the way. But when we're looking at muscle imbalances and weaknesses that lead to injury or pain, for example, or poor biomechanics, it's neural. Right, and I think our body is never broken. It just adapts to its environment. So if we've been a fairly sedentary professional or executive and we have poor posture and office syndrome, things like this, that's been established over many years of repetition. And so to think we can just improve our posture and improve our imbalances by doing a warm-up for 5 minutes 3 days a week, it's just not enough to create that change.
Yeah.
And I think also the majority of CrossFit programming is based on either a 3-in-1 or a 5-in-2 work ratio, right?
Oh, yeah.
Training 5 days in a row, 2 days off. And most people, at least in Bangkok, they are traveling. So they're not consistently doing 5 days to take advantage of the programming. Exactly. So there might be certain movements that are programmed for the week that a particular individual misses out on because they were traveling. So they end up overcompensating on certain movements and missing out on the key areas or corrective approaches that they need to do. Yeah. So there's a few gaps in the system, but I think at least when you're working on a private basis, we get to fill in the gaps.
Yeah.
Right. And obviously the strength, capacity, anaerobic threshold is crucial to create challenge, progressive overload, a neural and hormonal response. And we can see that I think it becomes very empowering for clients, right?
Yeah.
When they see what they are capable of achieving, it really has a massive impact in their self-confidence and their desire to want to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Right?
It's also happened with me, so that's why I keep going and I enjoy it a lot.
Yeah, of course. Because it's not about the reps, right? It's about your overall performance and how you approach training, and that's what makes it part of a lifestyle. I think that's what makes it addictive, because you always want to improve. Like for my own training, I'm not looking at what I can do bigger and better. I'm looking, how can I optimize my weaknesses? Right? I'm always looking at the weakest link, and that is the driver for me to keep improving. Even at 48, definitely there's less intensity in terms of the capacity, but I try and work and move smart and stay safe. And that becomes my 5%.
Oh, okay. So that's your focus.
Yeah.
And you doesn't look like 48.
Well, camera angles, good lighting, good genetics maybe. But yeah, so the industry continues to evolve. What is your prediction? Where do you think the industry is going over the next 2 or 3 years?
You mean the clients, or you mean the coach, or you mean the gym?
Yeah, just the industry in general. What are the future trends? Where do you think, as the industry is evolving and science with genetics or advances in longevity, where do you think the industry needs to focus on improving, whether it's knowledge or programming or services?
I think in these days, there's a lot of technology that coming in our industry also, but sometimes they didn't just fix the root cause of the clients or the things that people need to get better at health, because most of them, they don't know exactly what are the root cause for them, so they just do like random and try things, and they do that for years.
Yeah.
So I think they need someone to help them and plan it for them. So it will be the quality of coach that we learn to see coach to develop, and expect that we're going to have more great coach in our industry.
Yeah, I think it's a great point. It comes down to the quality of coaching for sure. And as this kind of baby boomer industry or age demographic continues to expand, you've got a lot of people moving into their 60s, 70s, and 80s, and they know they've still got a good 20, 30 plus years. And so they have worked with lots of trainers or interventions, and they're starting to see that the difference between an average trainer or a high quality coach, and that's what they're investing in. Right? They're looking at things beyond training and nutrition, but they're looking at sleep, wellness, pain, right? Energy, how they feel on a daily basis. And I think as professionals in this industry, we need to focus more on an older population. Like 40, 50 is not old, 60 is not old, but on a senior kind of 70 plus, that's what we need to set up people for, right? A real lifetime of success and functional capacity. So hopefully we'll see some more innovations there. I think the genetics that we do with clients helps to introduce some precision wellness and bridging the gap between health and fitness and the medical industry. I think that's a big part of where we will continue to innovate.
Okay. That's a good combination.
Yeah, it is. So final words. If you were going to share some advice to either coaches or clients on what to focus on to be the best version of themselves, to get better results in either career or in their programming, what are you going to recommend to them? What do they need to do?
So, just a simple word, just keep improving, but just need to identify that what are the things that we still lack of, what are our weakness in, and how to get better in our career. So it's not just only randomness of studying. Studying is good, but you need to study and improve the things that you need to improve and fix. And also after studying or get the certificate, it's not done. For me, I need to question myself that how can I use this set of knowledge with clients? Because in real life working, we couldn't follow the textbook. It doesn't work like that. It's not practical.
Yeah.
So I need to fix a bit and choose the things that I think that is good for these clients. This set of knowledge maybe no, but it's good for another. So I need to identify what works for each client and try to master the simple things.
100%. And I could tie that up as well. Regardless of the outcome, it's all about how you approach everything, right? Looking for patterns, looking to connect the dots. Learning never ends. Always be resourceful and open to new knowledge and see where it fits in the puzzle for either our career or any outcome, right? Not just on the training side of things. And if you constantly pivot and apply and adapt and identify the patterns, connect the dots, and just keep moving forward, right? We've lacked the critical thinking skills, all right, or intelligent curiosity, I call it, right? To be like, oh, that's interesting. Let's see what happens if we do this instead, right? And it's those questions on a daily basis just help clients and myself to move forward on a daily basis.
That's great.
Yeah. Well, man, it's been a great session. Thanks for joining.
You too.
Yeah, and I think we'll see you on future episodes.
For sure.
There we go.
Yeah.
So there's a few insights with Coach Ice, not just on his background, his career, but definitely on what his approach to client success is, some insights on the future of the industry, and how we can all be the best version of ourselves by showing up and always looking at our weaknesses to help optimize our best future self. So thanks for joining, and we'll see you in the next episode.
See you.